Meanwhile, President Trump making good on his promise to help reform college sports. The president signing an executive order yesterday that overhauls name, image, and likeness, NIL earnings, enforcing a 5-year eligibility window, limiting transfers, and calling on Congress to pass that SCORE Act. Here to react, Outkick founder Clay Travis. Clay, it's great to have you this morning. I have so many questions I want to ask you about this executive order, but just your first thoughts, first reaction to this.
President Trump got it right, and the major conference commissioners have all almost immediately endorsed his major changes or the things that he thinks need to happen in college athletics to return some sanity to the sport. The three that stood out to me the most, and I think are the most key: 5 years to play 5, 1 free transfer without sitting out, and no players can return after going to the pros. There are many others, and I know the president is watching likely right now or will see this. What I would encourage him to do is use his executive authority like he did when it came to investigations of colleges and universities and say, hey, if you violate these rules, I'll withhold federal dollars from your athletic programs. Now, we still need Congress to act. In particular, we need them to give college NCAA authorities an antitrust exemption so they can put rules in place. But I really think if the president put up a truth and he said, this is the rule of law and I will withhold federal dollars from any athletic department in the country that violates the precepts of these rules as we await Congress's ratification of them, I think it would have a really transformative effect almost overnight. We saw it happen in other aspects of his executive orders, men not in women's sports, for instance. I think if he did that, it would immediately start to fix even more many of these issues.
Well, and Clay, we know in that wall we were showing, the president has threatened withholding federal funds. And we also know that President Trump is a leader who, when he says something, he means it. It's interesting. You highlighted the fact that the president of the NCAA, along with all of the major conferences, SEC, ACC, Big Ten,
that's right,
all supporting this. And there's that executive order there. You had Nick Saban as well, by the way, supporting it. But on that wall, you pointed the highlights out, which I think you nailed. But in that one about restricting athletes to 1 transfer per 5-year period, here's my question about that. And it really is it a flaw of the portal itself? Because as an Ole Miss grad, when Lane Kiffin stood us high and dry on the cusp of making a national championship run, all of a sudden it became obvious that was that unfair to the students that transferred to Ole Miss because of Lane Kiffin? Should there be maybe some reform to the portal or a exception to this rule?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have said if your head coach bails, that you should have flexibility to be able to leave as well. And again, that gets into a complicated aspect because I think what we don't want, Griff, and you're an Ole Miss guy. I graduated from Vanderbilt Law School back in the day, so we both got SEC degrees, and I know my wife's got a Big Ten degree. There's a lot of people out there who are big fans. I think what we don't want is for you to have a guy who plays at Ole Miss that you're a big fan of, and then the next year he's at Mississippi State, and then he goes to Auburn, and then he goes to another school. And you got kids playing for 4 schools in 5 years, right? And that really kind of defeats the entire purpose. Because let's be honest, how in the world can you remotely get an education if you're going to 4 or 5 schools in 5 years? Remember, ostensibly, one of the things you're getting here is an education. And so I think we have to dial that back. You could still transfer, but you might have to sit out a year. And a lot of kids out there don't want to do that. And certainly that implicates the 5 years to be eligible as well.
Great insight, as always. We've got to leave it there, Clay. But I did wear what many are calling a Michigan tie. Do they win today?
I do think Michigan wins today. I think it's Arizona. It's going to go down to Michigan. And I think Illinois is going to find a way to get past UConn. So I think we may have an all Big Ten championship game.
We'll hold you to it. We'll see what happens. Clay Travis, as always, great insight. Thanks for your time.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.